Yeah.
Y'all had field trips or anything? Everything?
This Thursday is water day, school day.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Angel was involved with all of
Good evening, everyone. We're calling the May 20th, 2025 City Council meeting to order at 6 p.m. We hope you'll forgive us. A few of us are new up here, so at least I started on time. Please. We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. First, we'll do the United States flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Oh, just got to change glasses, sorry. At this time, we would like to listen to any member of the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes for each speaker, shall be limited to city business or city-related business or matters of general public interest, and shall not include any personal attacks. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, members may not discuss or take action on any item that has not been posted on the agenda. When your name is called, please come to the podium and state your name and address clearly into the microphone before making your comments. Thank you. Don't forget to turn your microphone on as well. Alicia Root.
Hi, my name is Alicia Root, and my address is 2606 Cypress Court. Thank you for allowing me to speak today about a public safety issue at the intersection of Nassau Road 1 and Lakeside Drive. The problem with this intersection is the proximity of the barge 295 exit driveway to the left-hand turn lane on Nassau Road 1 when you're turning onto Lakeside Drive. I've taken some photos, and I believe you have copies of them on your dais. The first photo is of the general intersection, and you can see where I have circled the exit for barge 295 and the entrance to the left-hand turn lane there at the intersection. You can see how they're almost parallel. The next picture is a view from the road when traveling eastbound on Nassau Road 1 toward 146 as you're approaching what is supposed to be the entrance for barge 295, and I've marked that with a little blue line. Now, there is nothing there telling me this is an entrance for a business. The next photo is actually the same view of the entrance, but taken from the sidewalk across the street, where you see, again, it's a broader view, where there is nothing to indicate that there's a business that I should turn in here if I want to visit barge. On the last photo that you have in front of you, I know I'm going fast, I got 4 minutes. There is a view of the exit from the sidewalk across the street to barge 95. You will notice that this is where the barge has their large marquee sign. That's where it's located at the exit, as well as a Seabrook pelican. We love our pelicans. And if you look closely, you will also see that there are 2 exit-only, no entrance signs posted. These lines are small, and they're hard to see from the roadway, whether you're coming from the left or the right. And at night, it's poorly lit, and they are not visible much at all. The danger at this intersection comes in when people are traveling westbound on Nassau Road 1, coming away from 146, and they're trying to turn into the barge crossing traffic. Often, most from my observation, people entering that business are going through the exit, not the entrance. And I believe this is due to poor sign placement. The issue also arises when people are leaving and turning left onto NASA. It also creates like a little bit of an issue for people in that turn lane as well. Over the years, I've had many close calls when I'm traveling eastbound and trying to turn onto Lakeside Drive. And over the last few months, I have seen an uptick in that traffic turning left there. And just a few weeks ago on Mother's Day, coming home from church at like 11:30 in the morning, we almost had an accident with somebody improperly turning there. A few days later, I saw a food service truck turning into the same exit as it was an entrance. And then just today, I witnessed a car turning in there as well. I hope you take this plea for action before a tragedy occurs. I know that there's talk about medians coming in with TxDOT, but that's probably years down the road. So I really hope that you reach out to the barge and maybe work on them with some signage placement at the proper entrance, or maybe even temporarily closing that exit until a more permanent solution can be found. And I think that's pretty much it. I got about 20 seconds, so thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, is there anyone who didn't get a chance to sign up who would like to speak? Okay, thank you. Item 1.1, Mayor, City Council, and/or members of the city staff may make announcements and about community or city events. Since we have not asked for a volunteer for that yet, I will read the one remaining announcement for the month. Remembering our fallen Memorial Day on Monday, May 26th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Bay Area Veterans Memorial. Please join us there for a nice ceremony. And if any council member wishes to volunteer for this task here going forward, I would love to entertain that. Yeah, not all at once. You can talk one at a time.
I nominate Tyler.
All right.
Tyler it is.
Tyler it is. Thank you, Tyler. So you can't be quiet now. All right. Item 2, presentations. Item 2.1, presentation of the quarterly report from the Seabrook Volunteer Fire Department. Chief, will you be doing that? Thank you.
Green means on. You can hear me. Nathan Douglas. I'm the elected fire chief by the membership of the Seabrook Volunteer Fire Department. I want to congratulate all of y'all on your elections and your wins, and I also want to thank y'all for being volunteers as well. So I really greatly appreciate that and your time as well, and some of the times y'all have spent with us at our fire station. First, I'd like to report that I started our budget process, and we always meet with Gail at least once or twice annually in reference to budget. That'll be coming up in 30 to 45 days. And we're on track for 588 calls from October till present, with about 60% of them being first responder calls. Beyond the first responder calls, we've been taking in a lot of what I call service calls or public service calls, fire alarms, commercial fire alarms, people stuck in elevators, things of that nature. And of course, your occasional natural gas leak and carbon monoxide detector going off. So we've been busy, lots of calls. That averages about 84 a month right now. From there, I'd like to move on to the Station 10, the City of Seabrook Fire and EMS Station. We really greatly appreciate the city folks that are in the back seat over there, in the back row over there, that have been coming almost every day and doing a lot of cosmetic work for us. And all of us, it's our station, right? So there's been a lot of sheetrock repairs and painting and cosmetic stuff. We have a bigger punch list that you'll probably be hearing about in the next 6 months to a year. That is going to be more capital type items like replacing floors, windows, and things like that. That punch list exists. And when the EMS EOC expansion begins, that's when that punch list will be, we'll start knocking off those items. So with that, what else did I have? I would like to move into a couple pictures. Thank you for showing these. Just wanted to share these pictures with you. This happened, I guess, last week. We always talk about mutual aid. We've discussed that when you've come and visited us, and this is a case where we actually went and mutual aided Pasadena on the warehouse fire. And that's kind of been a hot topic here in Seabrook over the past few months and during the election, is warehouses and what happens in our industrial district. So here's an incredible example. I did not make this call, but when I heard this call dispatch, I thought it was going to be a warehouse like you see in the city of Houston and would burn for 3 or 4 days. This is very unique. This is happening more and more with businesses. Those are all solar panels on there. And there was a technician up there working on the solar panels when some type of fire started and ignited. And that was the end result there. So if you can scroll through some of these pictures, I just wanted to show you. There's the actual solar panel fire. That's a Pasadena ladder truck. And that gives you a good perspective of that. And then these are pictures of our ladder truck. And we were one of the very first ones that had the height and the basket to actually get firefighters on the roof. And then the reverse is true. This is just a good example of how Pasadena calls us, and then we call Pasadena, and we all work with each other. Pasadena brought in their mid-mount ladder just like ours, and we were side by side working together. There's a good picture of the ladder truck. With that, almost in closure, I want to thank Andy Castiglione, the Assistant Chief. Just raise your hand real quick for coming here and supporting me. And I also brought a guest with us, my friend and peer named Richard Lawhorn. If you'd come on up here for a second. He is an assistant chief with the Harris County Fire Marshal's Office, and he is the actual district chief or fire chief of Harris County Hazmat. And I just asked him to come up here and visit with y'all, so y'all would have an understanding of Harris County Hazardous Materials Unit, what their capabilities are and what they do. And as we discussed, I'm not sure, a couple of quarters ago, I got asked a question about hazmat and how we handle that. Well, most cities of this size and even bigger cannot afford hazmat teams. That would be millions and millions and millions of dollars. So at the next level of government, Harris County, they fund a Harris County regional response team for hazardous materials, and they respond just like this scenario of mutual aid to us if we need them. So Richard, could you tell us about your organization a little bit and who you are?
Good evening. Thank you. We are a FEMA Type 1 hazmat team. We were started out of the events of 9/11. Basically, the Houston Fire Department at the time was pretty much the only game in town. And Judge Robert Eccles at the time, he said, you know, who's protecting the unincorporated areas of Harris County plus the cities? Because basically what was happening was Houston was having to turn down calls for service outside of the city proper. So they started our hazmat team, and today we've grown to 2 fire stations. One is in Atascocita and the other one is in Cy-Fair. We cover all the unincorporated areas of Harris County and any city that does not have a hazmat team. And we do not charge the municipalities, the police organizations, stuff like that for our services. We've had a very good relationship with Seabrook as well as Pasadena, Deer Park, LaPorte. Matter of fact, just in the last couple hours or couple days, we've responded to 2 tanker truck incidents. One was a hydrochloric acid leak out at one of the facilities here in LaPorte, and the other one was a 9,000-pound liquid hydrogen tanker that had a leak. That's just some of the stuff that we do. It benefits us to create a good relationship with our neighboring fire departments because they respond in extraterritorial jurisdictions to unincorporated areas of Harris County. So one of the things that we started doing after the ITC fire, and I'll make this quick, one of the things we started doing that was real important to us was not only did we expand the size of our team, but we started going out and doing pre-plans, and we do that for, so far we've done it for about 1,350 Tier 2 facilities that have reported, and we have gone out and we met with them, and basically we want to know 3 main things. Trust me, it's a lot more in depth than this because it's about going out and building a relationship before the emergency happens. But basically, we want to know, some of these facilities have a lot of gates to them. Where do we go when the emergency happens? Who's going to answer that phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? It's at night, it's on a weekend, it's a holiday, and nobody else is going to answer their phone. We need to know who from their facility is going to be the one to answer the phone. And then basically the third thing is, what out here scares the dickens out of you? And that's what we're going to plan and pre-plan for. And then we take that pre-plan and we put it in a program called Responder 360 that allows the fire departments that are on that platform to go up, hit on that little orange triangle, and that pre-fire plan comes up, and they've got the map of the facility, the safety data sheets, and all that stuff right at their fingertips. I could talk for an hour, but I won't bore you. But that's kind of in a nutshell what we provide to some of the unincorporated areas in some of the cities that don't have a hazmat team, because Chief is absolutely right. It's very expensive to operate a hazmat team. Some of the equipment by itself can run hundreds of thousands of dollars for just one piece of equipment that you got to maintain and keep calibrated and all that stuff.
They've actually responded to Seabrook as well. The Berry Body Shop fire, we had hazmat come out because we're concerned about the water runoff and all the paint shop and the types of things that were in there to do. You can do pH testing to water and things like that for us.
Tanker truck incident.
Tanker truck incidents, and what was with all the white powder in the mail?
Yep.
Anthrax, boy, let's never live that again. So, in addition, I know there's a freezer facility that's coming to the city or looking at coming to the city. We did a little bit of research with Kevin. We appreciate your help today with that. And the regulations were like half of what the federal government says you can have with anhydrous ammonia, which is like 10,000 pounds. They've reduced it to 5,000 pounds. Nothing you're not familiar with or could handle in a heartbeat if an emergency arises, or at least start to mitigate and solve problems. So that's it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from council?
Okay, Nathan, you talk really fast or I listen really slow. I'm not
I probably
sure which one it is right now.
both.
So here's my question. So the warehouse, can you repeat everything you just said about the requirements of the warehouse that's coming to our area and the danger or safety therein?
Not an expert in that, but we found out that what was the federal statute said you can have 10,000 gallons, pounds of anhydrous ammonia. That's what they use to freeze in the warehouse. The projection is going to be 5,000, so they're half at what the
Got it.
allows.
Okay.
So it's smaller
Okay.
than what is allowed. Does that make sense? I know that I've seen people concerned about that.
This is what you do. It's not what I do. So I was like, back up for a second. Let me make sure I get it. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Chief, thank you. Thank you both for being here. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate you. All right.
All right, change glasses again. Presentations 2.2. I have 3 proclamations to read, so I'll go through each of the 3 points here, and then I'll come up and do the presentations one at a time, if you don't mind. That way I don't have to keep running back and forth. 2.2, Mayor Sweeney to present a proclamation declaring May 11th, 2025 through May 17th, 2025 as Police Week in the city of Seabrook. You'll note that was last week. I apologize to our fine police department, but I needed to practice my where-tos and whereases, so I asked if we could move that to this week. 2.3, Mayor Sweeney to present a proclamation declaring May 18th, 2025 through May 24th, 2025 as Public Works Week in the city of Seabrook. And 2.4, Mayor Sweeney to present a proclamation declaring May 18th, 2025 through May 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week in the city of Seabrook. After I finish the first one, we'll come down and start taking pictures. Whereas the men and women of our police force dedicate their lives to safeguarding the residents, property, and values of the city of Seabrook, Texas, and whereas Police Week provides an opportunity to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officers who serve and protect our community, and whereas Sunday, May 11th, 2025 through Saturday, May 17th, 2025 has been declared as National Police Week, and whereas these brave individuals demonstrate unwavering commitment, integrity, and professionalism in their daily duties, often facing great risks to ensure our safety, and whereas it is fitting to recognize their vital contributions and to reaffirm our appreciation and support for law enforcement personnel. Now, therefore, I, Jim Sweeney, Mayor of the City of Seabrook, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 11th, 2025 through May 17th, 2025 as Police Week in the City of Seabrook, Texas. Everyone sit down. Take a picture.
I just want to make sure you can see. Y'all can scooch a little bit, close as y'all can get, right? Well, my hand has to be.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay, if everybody just kind of hang around here somewhere, we have two more. Please. Yeah. We'll come back down. All right. Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Seabrook, and whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals or engineers, managers, and employees at all levels who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens, and whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Seabrook to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities, and whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, now therefore I, Jim Sweeney, Mayor of the City of Seabrook, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025 through May 24th, 2025 as Public Works Week in the City of Seabrook, Texas. Okay. All right, this is EMS week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service in Seabrook, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the week of May 18, 2025 through May 24, 2025 has been declared as National Emergency Medical Services Week, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week in the City of Seabrook, now therefore I, Jim Sweeney, Mayor of the City of Seabrook, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through May 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Take center. Close up. Close the ring. Turn left, turn this way. This way. Okay, that's a month's worth. Thank you very much. Consent agenda. Item 3. Item 3.1, approve the minutes of the May 6, 2025 and May 13, 2025 city council meetings. And 3.2, approve and ratify the city manager's reappointment of Ashley Gadd to the Civil Service Commission for a 3-year term to expire June 1st, 2028.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Tyler, you second. And all approve? Any opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. New business, item 4. Item 4.1, consider it and take all appropriate action on the selection of a mayor pro tem. Anybody want to?
Motion to nominate Buddy Hammond.
Motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Or
Second.
Tyler, second. Thank you. Anyone else? Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Don't raise your hand, buddy. Unanimous. Thank you. Item 4.2, consider and take all appropriate action on the appointment of one member of council to serve on the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation.
I move to approve to nominate Summer Sanford.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Sessom, second. Any discussion? Anybody else want to volunteer? No. All right. There being no further, everyone in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. Summer, good job. You can. Yes. You did. Item 4.3, consider and take all appropriate action on the selection of 2 council members to serve on the Hotel Tax Advisory Board.
I don't know if I make a motion, but I'd like to be on that.
Okay, well, I get to get my pen.
I'll serve as well on that one.
Good? Yeah, that'll be all right. Okay, so we have 2 volunteers. I'm going to write them down, pardon me. All right, we have 2 volunteers. We're going to go through all these and then we'll approve everybody, okay? Consider and take all appropriate action on the selection of council liaisons for area organizations. All right, the first one is the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. Tom Tollett, I've spoken to him. He is on an excused absence today out of town. He is the current council liaison for the chamber and would like to stay on as the current council liaison, but we would like an alternate for the Chamber of Commerce.
I'll do it.
Buddy? Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Everybody good with Buddy? All right. The Economic Alliance Port Region. Again, Buddy's listed as the alternate. Do we have somebody that wants to be the actual liaison?
I'll nominate myself.
Summers, you've been doing that at EDC. Anybody else? Summers, good. Okay, thank you. You guys are making this too easy. I gotta do. We don't disagree.
Well, here, we didn't get
Oh.
that's actually the interview ones. So
Oh.
we need a motion and second.
Yeah, my apologies. I'm going to take those names off. That was a whole different thing. On the HOT advisory, that was a separate action. So our 2 members, Jared and Angela, I need a motion to accept
I move to nominate Jarrett and Angela for the Hot Tax Committee.
committee and a second.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. There's another hot thing we got to get back to. I forgot about that. All right, now where are we at? All right. Next would be the Houston Galveston Area Council. I need 2 members, 1 liaison and 1 alternate. Anybody volunteer for that?
I'll be the liaison for the HPC.
Liaison, okay, thank you.
Did you say you need an alternate as well?
Alternate?
I'll be an alternate.
Alternate, anybody else? Yeah, alternate, Angela, Summer. Okay. The Seabrook Economic Development Corporation. Summer, we're gonna replace Buddy with Summer. Okay. And the mayor serves automatically, so we don't need an alternate for that. And then the Galveston Bay Foundation, we added back in. I think that was, we had this on at one point, took it off when Tom got on the board at Galveston Bay Foundation, but he's now rolled off the board, and he would like to be the council liaison for the Galveston Bay Foundation. Good, okay, and we need an alternate just in case. Anybody want to, that's going to be just a very occasional thing.
I'll do it.
Buddy? Unless you, Angela, you want, buddy? Buddy's good. All right. I heard that fast, that was fast. The Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, Buddy is alternate, and we need a liaison.
I would like to jump in for BayHep.
Good. Angela and Buddy, is that good with everybody? Okay. And the Bay Area Houston Transportation Partnership, we need 2 for that. Baytran.
I'll do it.
Summer, you want to be the main? I'll be, if no one else wants to be, I'll be the alternate for that. Okay. Summer. Okay, so I'm going to read back the organization and the positions, and then after I'm done, we'll need a motion and a second and a vote. For the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, the council liaison, Tom Tollett, alternate Buddy Hammond, Economic Alliance Port Region. Council liaison, Summer Sanford, alternate Buddy Hammond. The HGAC, or the Houston Galveston Area Council, Jared Sessom as the liaison, Summer Sanford as the alternate. The Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, Summer is the appointed liaison, and then, of course, the mayor position. And then the Galveston Bay Foundation, Tom Tollett as the liaison, Buddy Hammond as the alternate. Buddy's on here a lot as the alternate. The Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, Angela as the council liaison, Buddy as the alternate. And then the Baytran, or the Bay Area Houston Transportation Partnership, Summer as the liaison, myself as the alternate. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay, I need a motion.
I move to approve the appointments of council liaison as read by mayor.
Second.
Okay, okay, we have a first and a second, and any further discussion? All in favor, signify. Unanimous. Thank you all. Now we do the next thing. Item 4.5, consider and take all appropriate action on the appointment of members of council to board and commission interview panels. So these are sometime interview panels when a new position is needed to be filled, or we might have a couple times a year kind of thing, not an every month or every week kind of thing, just so you know. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 of those, 2 for each. And these are interviewer positions. The first one is the Board of Adjustments and Building Standards. Buddy is a standing interview member. You're good on that? Yep. So we need a second.
I'll do that one.
Councilman Sissom. The Economic Development Corporation.
I'll take that one.
Councilman Tollett wishes to come off, so I'll need 2 for that.
I'll take that one.
Okay. Okay. Summer and Buddy. Thank you. The Ethics Review Commission, Buddy is a standing interviewer there, but I need a second for the Ethics Review Commission.
I'll jump on that.
Tyler. Thank you. Open Spaces and Trails, Councilmember Tollett is on that one already. I need a second.
I'll take that one.
Thank you, Angela. Planning and Zoning, I need 2 members.
I'll do it.
Okay. Councilman Hammond and, Councilman Sanford. And then the last one is the board commission interview panel for the HOT committee, which is not the member of the HOT committee, just the interview panel.
I'll do that one.
Okay, Jared. And I need a second, please.
I'll take that one.
Angela? Yeah, that works. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just read these, and then again, we'll get a motion and vote. For the board commission interview panels, the Board of Adjustments Building Standards, Buddy Hammond and, Jared Sessom. For Economic Development Corporation, Summer Sanford and Buddy Hammond. The Ethics Review Commission, Buddy Hammond and Tyler Cabana. Open Spaces and Trails, Angela Cervantes and Tom Tollett. Planning and Zoning, who was that? That was,
Me.
oh, you and Buddy again. Buddy Hammond and Summer Sanford. And the Hot Committee, Jared Sessom and Angela Cervantes, and that is all 6 panels.
Okay, I move to approve the interview panels as read by the mayor.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Councilman Sessom, second. All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous? Thank you all very much for volunteering. I think that's all that, You'll all have to rewrite my chicken scratch. Okay, thank you. All right, item 4.6. Consider and take all appropriate action on approval of professional services agreement with Cahoon Consulting in an amount not to exceed $16,000 to assist the city of Seabrook in developing a substantial damage response plan in conjunction with efforts to achieve a class improvement under the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP Community Rating System, CRS, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. This item is not currently budgeted and will require a budget amendment. Do I have a
Move to approve 4.6, excuse me.
Second.
council members? Second. Sean, do you?
I have a brief report if you
Report.
guys would like to hear it from me.
Certainly.
Please.
So currently, FEMA requires any city that participates in the federal flood insurance program to have a substantial damage response plan. Currently, we do not have one. This plan's important when we have a major event and we have to start going around our community and determining what's substantially damaged and what's not. By definition, a substantial damage structure is any structure that was damaged more than 50%. And what the cost of that to bring that back into compliance of its pre-existing condition prior to the event. So what I'm asking is, due to the limitations of staff and the time that they're spending on other work right now, we're requesting that council allow us to do a service agreement with Calhoun Consulting to help us with this plan. As part of the approval of this plan, it will have to, though there's multiple tasks, I put it in your all's packet. Task 1 is the creation of the plan itself, and then working with ISO and FEMA to get that plan approved. The second task is working with the consultant to help us lower our CRS rating. As part of creating this plan, it'll give us additional points that FEMA will then credit back towards, which will allow our CRS rating to go down. For those of you who don't know what our CRS rating is and how it works, is typically it's a voluntary program that we work with FEMA on as part of our flood program. And what it does is allows our community to get discounts on their flood insurance. And for you start out at a 10 possibly, and then as you go down, you do more activities that are additional requirements to what FEMA requires us to have or implement. As we get additional points, then our rating goes down. And the more things that we do, the more our rating goes down. Every time we go down a level, our community gets an additional 5% discount on their flood insurance. Currently, we're a 7. So everybody in our community gets a 15% discount on their flood insurance. With the incorporation of this plan and some other things that we're working on, we're hopeful that we can get to a 6, which will then grant everybody within our community a 20% discount. As stated, currently, this is an unbudgeted item. It is something that staff's recommending that we do. It's something that we have to get in place. And we're headed into a hurricane season. We don't want to have a storm and not have this in place. Basically, the plan itself, I did put a template document of how complex this plan is. It really is an SOP for us, how we determine if it's substantially damaged, how we deal with it, and then how we work with the community to make sure we're in compliance with this. And so, again, staff's recommending approval, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Council, any questions?
How fast can they turn it around? Being that we're right here, you know?
Yeah, within the proposal, we're thinking we can get the plan done in 45 days. And then working with them in the second task in a 180-day period, we think we can probably reduce that period to reviewing the CRS process. And then there's a task 3 in the agreement where it's really just a random task where if we need Debbie to come in or Calhoun Consulting to come in, they will come in and do presentations to council, to the public, and that's the third task.
Sean, it's my understanding that the discount, each citizen who pays for flood insurance, that's where the discount comes from, right?
That's correct.
The policy that we pay from our homes.
That's correct. And for those of you who don't know how that works, basically FEMA underwrites your flood insurance policies. And so you work with your with your insurance company, and they work directly with FEMA to establish those rates and those discounts. And all that information is provided directly to the insurance company on what your rating is, and it's part of their profiles on our city on what that percentage of discount is.
So this is similar to ISO for homeowners. Like the better your ISO rating, the better discounts you get on your.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
And we deal with ISO as we're going through the approval process.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Everybody ready for a vote? All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous? Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, y'all.
Okay. Item 4.7, consider and take all appropriate action regarding Resolution 2025-11 to apply for and accept grant funds from the state of Texas for the Houston Urban Area Security Initiative to purchase ballistic helmets for the Seabrook Police Department officers and to authorize the police chief to execute all necessary actions related to the grant award. This grant will fully fund the purchase of the ballistic helmets and will not require any City of Seabrook funds.
Motion to approve.
I have to read a resolution, sorry. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Seabrook authorizing the submission of a 2024 grant program for ballistic helmets through the Houston Urban Area Security Initiative for $18,975 and authorizing the Chief of Police to act as the city's authorized representative in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in connection with the grant.
Move to approve 4.7.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? You voted already? Oh, okay. Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, hold on a second. I got to give him some credit here. So my understanding is that you surfaced, you did all the canvassing yourself to find this grant and bring it to the police department. Is that correct?
I did, but don't pat me on the back too hard, because if you'll notice that it said 2024, this particular grant, I was told because it's administered by UASI, and I didn't know it went through the governor's office. It does as well. It's not straight from the feds. They require resolution at the state level. So I didn't originally get a resolution from the council. That's why I'm coming before you now requesting.
Well, thanks for following through with it. I just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Item 4.8, consider and take all appropriate action on the establishment of an ad hoc city-wide signage committee to address signage in Seabrook to include one member from the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, one member from City Council, one resident from Old Seabrook, one member from the Open Space and Trails Committee, and no more than 5 members from Old Seabrook businesses. Buddy, do you want to talk on that?
Yeah, when we were holding the meetings on the stakeholders for the Bayside Park, we had a number of the business owners down there. And one of the issues that was really brought up and pretty well agreed on by everybody was signage and getting people off Main to the businesses that are back off Main Street, such as Damn Fine Coffee, LA Taco, Backyard, et cetera. And so anyway, they wanted to have a voice in this. And I think that this is where we start. And just for history's sake, this goes back 2 administrations ago before they broke ground on 146. We were having conversations regarding how we needed signage to get people off the freeway and into Seabrook. And then once they got into Seabrook, how they got from wherever they were to the businesses, to the events, to whatever. And at that time, the idea with EDC and the group that was planning this was to hire an outside consultant to come in and do it all. Their cost is pretty expensive. We may well find that after we go through the ad hoc committee and get their input, that we're going to go back to a professional group to come in and say, here's what's worked in other cities, and this is what we'll think will work in Seabrook. But we need to get this ball rolling because 146 is now complete. We've got a couple new businesses in Old Seabrook. We've got a couple new businesses in Miramar Shopping. So I just think it's a very timely thing and just to get it going. And with that being said, I move to approve 4.8.
Buddy, there's a part of that too that we're going to look at the trail signs and things like that
But we have
too.
a motion.
Okay, second.
That's your second. Okay.
Sorry. But I want to make sure that I understand that any signs that go through that committee are not just for the small businesses, but open space and trails and things of that nature as well.
Yeah, the whole thing is that in the design of the sign, you're looking for effectiveness, you're looking for durability, and you're looking for brand. And so when somebody comes down, they'll see a sign, and this sign may be on a trail, it may be at Ma's Nursery or whatever, but it's going to have the direction of where to go, and then what's the sign, the expectation of what you're going to see when you get there. So it's multi-purpose. We want the signs to complement each other. We want them to be compatible with each other. And we also want to make a good presentation for the city of Seabrook. So when somebody sees the sign, just one sign, they recognize it, that it's universal throughout the city.
Gail, you want to weigh in?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I would just add on this, typically with our ad hoc committees, I could formulate a resolution that will be on your next agenda, and we can also couple that with the appointments at that time. So if it is amenable, council could take that proactive approach of recommending the businesses at the next council meeting, in addition to this resolution that will set a purpose, if it's in accordance with what the direction that I can draft of what you basically said tonight. If there's a timeline or anything, that's the only question I would have is if you're foreseeing this being a temporary ad hoc committee, is there any timeline within that resolution that you would want to see?
Okay. We can have we can find the businesses and have the whole thing nominated at the next meeting then.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second to formulate the committee on the floor. So if there's no further, is there any further discussion? Anybody else? We'll take a vote then. Anybody approve? And opposed? No? Unanimous? Thank you. Consider and take, item 4.9, consider and take all appropriate action on a recommendation to City Council from the Open Space and Trails Committee to authorize the committee to design trail map signage and awning structures at trailheads in accordance with the city branding guidelines and request funding as heard at the May 1st, 2025 OST meeting. This is an unbudgeted item that will require a budget amendment, and John is going to speak on behalf of OST. Welcome, John.
Thank you. My name's John Coggeshall. I'm on the Open Space and Trails Committee. I'd like to talk about some signage. We'd like to also invite, all the new council members. We meet once a month, the Open Space and Trails Committee on first Thursday of the month. The meeting's usually about an hour, but if any of the new guys can make it, just give us your thoughts or just sort of watch us in action. That would be great. I have been listening to the council meetings for the past few months about the hot tax committee and what you spend the money on and the sign issues the city has had. And within open space in our trail system, we completed the berm trail a few years ago. And since then, I've sort of been whining within open space about, hey, we need to get a new map system that reflects how the current trails are. So I've got a couple extra charts in here to talk about, I've got some things that the new council members may not have heard. I'm gonna just keep talking. If you have any questions or points, you just interrupt me. Don't worry about it, because I may not pause too much. Okay, so the Seabrook Trail System It is a very unique trail system. This is from all trails, what you see on the screen here, this area. Basically, in the southeast quadrant of the greater Houston area, there's 34 trail systems. Of all those trail systems, the users currently have the Seabrook Trail System as the #1 trail system in the area. It's closely matched by Armand Bayou and Exploration Green, but it is really a pristine system. As another example, on the right there, you see the sort of chalkboard, the sort of the big outdoor store in the area, REI, over at Baybrook Mall. They have recommendations on, a dozen different trails you should try to hike on. 2 of those are Seabrooks. They have things like Galveston Island State Park, the Lone Star Trail, Challenger Park, but 2 of them have made REI's top 12 systems. So this just to say that you've got a really unique thing here in Seabrook. Next chart, please. So just the benefits of the trail system. 1, citizens love it. I don't need to talk any more about that. But the second thing it does draw, it's so unique, it does draw a lot of visitors. The economic benefits of trails can really pay off if you have a good system where you're actually bringing in people out of town just to walk on your trails. Next chart. So here's an example. This is a social meetup group. This is from a couple months ago. They said, hey, we're gonna hike on the Seabrook trails. Over 120 people signed up to come down here from all over the area to walk on the trails. You can see them in the upper right. They're all piling up at Metter. That's where they met. Our trail system hasn't had a good, again, I'll come back to my base point, hasn't had a good trail system since we've expanded it. And we in open space have said this would be a better map. So we have drawn our own map and we put it out there on the open space. And that's what those guys like. They downloaded that map in the middle there and then they kind of drew on it to say, okay, here's what we're going to do, everybody. They started at Metter, headed to Pine Gully, had a lunch break, and then did the whole trail system, came back. But they started at Metter. You can see them down there on the right. That's about 120 people. Actually, it's like 90-something. But afterwards, they said, as part of the meetup, they said, let's go to Tukey's. And so that picture in the lower left, that's 3 tables of 20 people that are in there at Tukey's that came down here to walk on the trail system. So that's just an example of what the day visitors can do economically to see.
Okay, hold on. I'm interested to know more. First of all, were these people locals or were they from all over?
They're from meetups from all over. So there's like 4 or 5 big groups that are not from Seabrook that use our trail system a couple times a year. There's the scouts with a whole bunch of backpacks on, about 75, 80 of them come through. These are people, none of these people are Seabrook. These are all people from out of town.
Do you guys have any way of knowing how many of those people actually stayed in hotels here for this event?
Yeah, no.
No, okay.
I'm pretty sure the answer is 0. The only time that the trails will draw people in hotels is Lucky Trails. That event starts very early in the morning, so a lot of times people are like, we're not driving across town.
It's the only event for now. It's the only event for now that does that. I'm really interested in doing more with the trails.
Okay.
With you guys having, and I wasn't throwing shade at you, I was just saying I'm really excited about this. So when you guys have these meetups, do they have Facebook pages that you guys know that they're coming? Is there a way that we can expand on what's already happening to make it bigger and better? Has that been discussed?
So to show that you have a good trail system, how good your system is, we have nothing to do with any of this stuff. These are all people, REI, people from out of town have said, if you want to go to someplace nice, come down to Seabrook. So open space is not involved in any of this.
This is a question for council. Hot tax funds can be used for promoting tourism. Would this qualify?
Absolutely. We're not
going to talk about that.
We're not talking about that yet, buddy. We're excited.
Okay, so again, I'm out on the trails. I hike a good part of the trails twice a week. I volunteer on the trails 2 different days of the week. So I'm out there 4 of the 7 days a week. I always kind of try to talk to a lot of people when they're out there. Where are you from? What do you like? And so this is all my personal data. On the weekend, about 50% of the people that are walking out there, they're from out of town. My unofficial survey data, the reason why they're here is the trails, they're just beautiful. The bird watching is great. You have 4 different bird biomes that when the migratory birds are coming, we'll get a lot of people coming out of town. We even have the Audubon Society hosts a monthly walkthrough here in Seabrook that's got about a dozen people on it. The trails are always really clean. And the trails are not along roads. You know, you have a sound benefit, and you have a safety benefit, and you have a heat benefit from them being not along the roads. The biggest complaint is the mosquitoes. Don't need to talk anymore about that. But when I ask them, well, what would you like to see more of? And they'd say, your signs are not in the right. We don't like the signs. You don't have signs. And you need more trails. Next chart, please. So, again, what you can do to draw more day visitor to our trail system is you need to connect the Seabrook trail system up into the Pasadena and Auburn Bayou trail system. I've got just pointed from the American Trail website, but there are many benefits. If you have an integrated trail system, you will draw even more people to it. It's what Houston's doing. It's what all the big metropolitan areas across the United States are doing, is growing the trail. So that's the big thing that would draw the most visitors, which would draw the most additional visitors. Our current trail system, I personally think it's very good. There's an adequate number of bathrooms, water, and what's the third? And parking. We're working on the shade. Every January, we work some more on the shade, planting more trees. But again, we could develop trail signs at these areas for these visitors that come in. Now, the Seabrookians, they're all here. We kind of know where we want to hike, but these signs need to be focused on just the fundamental trail, what they call it, waypoint signs, is that it? Just the waypoint sign system. You just show the trail, distance. What is it?
Wayfinding.
Wayfinding, thank you. Next chart. So here's our current trail signs. We got, I think, 6, 7 of them. Those are just 3 parks that they're in. Again, I think there's 7 of them. That is the sign in the middle there. It's got pelicans, where the pelicans are. It doesn't really show a good view of the trails. You have a lot of wasted space where there's no trail system. Those signs are also, if you look at them, they're on nice metal bases, but they're at a 45-degree angle, and those things just get blasted by the sun, and they wear out quickly. And these signs, in my opinion, are pretty worn out, and they're not really used too much anymore. Next chart. So here's the wayfinder system that we developed at Open Space that everybody's liked. I showed you that earlier, how that other group grabbed it. Next chart. So this is kind of the concept. So here's what we want to do. We would like to recommend, when you have a big group or day visitors, there's 3 basic, our trail system is like not a triangle, but it all comes together. It starts out in 3 areas. It starts out at Metter, starts out at Public Works, and it starts down at Pine Gully. The Pine Gully one, you do have to pay $10, so you don't have to, if you're from out of town, so you don't have a lot of big groups starting at Pine Gully. They either start at Metter or up here at Public Works. We would like to recommend something of what they call trailhead signs, and there's just a couple examples of them. You have a really nice wayfinder trail on these vertical for the sun, protected, and just so the basic data for the trails. And I think, do I have any more, Gail, or is that it? That's it.
That's it.
So I think that's about it. If there's any questions or comments, I'd be glad to address them as best I can.
Has this been formally voted on by OS&T? Has the design been completed?
No, we wanted to see what your reaction was. No, we haven't designed anything, but it's
Okay.
going to be simple. But we have, open space unanimously agrees we need something like this.
And there's agreement on to where they should be located?
I think so, yeah. I was a little nervous about the costs of the trails. I think we could do one or two to start with, see how you like it. And then you can expand it, in an effort to minimize costs. I didn't know how big a deal to the city the costs of the
The
trail.
reason I bring that up is because of the fence that we had at Pine Gully. We had one that followed the vegetation line, and that's not what OS&T wanted. And the same thing with the trails and the whole development of Carruthers. So, I just want to make sure that OS&T has formally said, this is what we want before we go forward.
So that's why I'm here. If you're going to get uptight, about the costs, if we can just get
We're not talking about the cost. We're just talking about the signs right now.
Okay, but that's kind of linked together. We think the signs are needed. If the cost is a big factor, then we could have we've got volunteer groups to build those sign systems. We kind of talked about having them professionally.
Gail, you want to weigh in on that? Gail's going to weigh in.
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, we did meet with John prior to the council meeting just to get a better idea of the ideas that we're bringing forth in the recommendations. So some of the stuff from staff that we recommended was that if this is approved tonight, that he and OST would work with our public affairs team to make sure that we went through a professional sign company to make sure that we put it on sustainable materials. And if we do the awning, maybe doing a resin material that would match the benches. So something would be long lasting. It takes a brutal heat in the summer. So the only thing that we would say is if this is a go from council, we would work with John and OST, get professional design quotes, and we would need to come back and then we'll discuss where we're going to pull that money from.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
So do you have a location of where you want these signs at?
Yeah, we're recommending Metter and Public Works to start, because that's where the big groups hit the trail.
Just a question on what these signs y'all are envisioning look like. Are y'all thinking so I'm looking at the image on the right here. It shows a fixed permanent map, just like our original sign, but it's covered by the elements. Is that kind of what y'all are envisioning, or are y'all possibly envisioning something more similar to the left, where you have something that would need to be changed in and out, other thing like that? Are we doing fixed maps?
Like a permanent sign that would last 10 to 20 years in something like the left. But we're sensitive to, we don't want, I don't mean to offend it, we don't want pelicans, we just want the simple, or motels or all those things.
Sure.
And that's why I'm kind of here, because listening to the sign discussions these past few months, we don't want here's what the Seabrook overall sign system is going to be. It's been voted on by this ad hoc committee, and here you go, open space for your trail. It needs to just focus on what would improve the Seabrook system. I don't know if that answered your question.
I move to approve 4.9 and instruct city staff to get with OS&T to finish developing this up and get us some quotes and bring it back.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Tyler, second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I actually had a question. So what would, if you don't mind flipping back to that image, Gail. So the one on the far left, it seems more simple. Do you have any idea what an approximate cost of something like that would be?
That's for the next, when the city staff's going to go and get with OST and then figure out what they want and then get quotes.
But we're agreeing for them to discuss with the intention of spending the
But
money.
they'll come back with a budget amendment. Yeah.
So then we could potentially vote that down and then they
Yes.
wasted, okay.
Absolutely.
I feel like this is something that potentially could be a volunteer project. as a cost-saving initiative, but I guess we're just voting on this for now, so we'll discuss in the future.
Yeah, I think we're just voting on approval to support the OST folks with this moving forward. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you very much. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Okay, item 5, routine business. 5.1, presentation of the monthly financial report for April 2025. Mike?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Congratulations to all y'all again on your election campaigns. So we'll hop into the budget. I'll try and keep it brief. I know y'all have been attending the meetings and following along. Y'all are inheriting some budgets. We're going to go over the 5 large funds of the city, starting with the general fund. Again, we adopted a $16 million budget. This is our monthly forecast with our actuals through April. We had a beginning fund balance of just over $9 million. Our current projections have us returning a $1.1 million change in fund balance, which would leave us with $10 million in the bank. And if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to stop and ask. Our second page here, we just, again, this will give you a breakdown on the revenue as far as if you wanted to look at different changes in budget to actual, and then our actual from this year to last year just as comparables. There's a graph on our sales tax. We were a little aggressive with our sales tax numbers in the budget, so we are currently coming in under that budget number, around just under 9%. But as you can see, we are 4% higher than last year's figure. Just another example of the sales tax data. Gives you a kind of a look at the year over year going back to 21. Here's our property tax, kind of the same layout. We budgeted $7 million in general fund property tax. We've currently collected $6.9 million. So that's good. Here is a summarized version of our general fund departments, what was budgeted, and what we've spent year to date through April. The next few slides, I'll just kind of, unless someone has a question, I'll just skim through them. They basically break it down by category: personnel services, our miscellaneous services, miscellaneous materials and supplies, services, and capital expenditures. And then we kind of hop into our enterprise fund. Ooh, which I just skipped over. Here, we had a starting fund balance of 2.6 million. We're currently projecting a change in fund balance of just over $1,000 going back to the fund balance. Again, here is a presentation of our revenue sources and current year to current year budget and current year to last year's actuals. Breakdown on our water, our water sales. We are currently, I think with the amount of rain we've received, we're currently coming in under our budget number for revenues, both in water and sewer. That's largely due to not buying as much water. Water consumption is down, so we do have, there's the cost savings on the expense side, and it comes with the delta of not collecting as much in the revenue side. Here's our enterprise fund departments: water, utility billing and collections, wastewater, and our trash service. Gives you the kind of the projected, our actual to our budget through April. And it looks like everybody, most of the departments, one is slightly over budget, but that could trim out in the coming months. Here's a graph of our sewer. Again, our sewer sales going back through 21. As I stated, our budget number for April was $337,000, and we collected $305,000, so we are slightly under for the month. Again, here's the next several slides are for by category, personnel. If you wanted to get more involved in looking at those specific categories, that's a summarized version of the personnel, the supplies, services, infrastructure, capital, and our debt payments and transfers. Excuse me. Next is our hotel occupancy fund. Here are year-to-date actual. Our revenues are actually over our budgeted revenues, and our expenses are lower. We started out with a $1.6 million fund balance. We do have an incentive agreement of $1.2 million that has been committed. So this is showing the return on fund balance would be $226,000, assuming the hotel project was let and those funds were spent. We would be at $650,000. Otherwise, we're looking at roughly just $1.9 million in fund balance. Hopping over to EDC. Overall, the sales tax is slightly down. Our interest revenue is over budget. This was a fund that is, again, it's designed to incentivize businesses to come in. So our budget was adopted to be a deficit spend of $934,000. We began the year with $4.1 million in fund balance. Our current projections has our ending fund balance at $3.7 million. Quick graph of our sales tax going back again through 21. Here our projections are slightly under our actuals are slightly under our budget by that $7,000. And there again, you can see it. Oh, it's 4,000 on this page. Maybe a technical error. Going over to Crime District, again, we were a little more aggressive on the budget of sales tax there. As you can see, we're coming in under budget by $30,000. We began the year at 1.5 million fund balance. Our return to fund balance leaves us at 1.6 million. And we go into some more graphs. That kind of concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions? None?
No. Thank you, Mike. For everyone's reading pleasure, these reports are posted on the website each month if you want to do a deep dive. Thank you. Okay, back to routine business. Item 5.2, City Manager update and report to City Council on various items that require no action, including Seabrook Board and Commissions, transportation projects, and City of Seabrook CIP projects.
All right, Mayor and Council, in regards to your boards and commissions, the last couple of meetings we've had since this body met was the EDC meeting did meet on May 7th. We did have a successful approved incentive for a Soul Freak, which was the coffee shop that will be locating within Seabrook on Main Street. It was just over $41,000. They did review their incentive policy. There's no changes coming back to City Council, and they did take a look at the committed $10,000 in their budget for Celebration Seabrook, had no objections, and approved moving forward. P&Z is scheduled on May 22nd for a public hearing on a final plat for Edgewater Townhomes. And as far as transportation, a little good news on that front. So we had a town hall meeting, as you recall, not too long ago, in which TxDOT was explaining that the Red Bluff exit would be closed for a couple of years. They did send us an email this week that says that they're going to look at doing that mid-June. So that should be back open by mid-June. As if you followed this project, it stretches from Red Bluff all the way into LaPorte at Spencer. So the reconfiguration of entrances and exits starting at Red Bluff all the way into Shore Acres down there is going to change quite a bit. So once they go to construct the new entrance ramp southbound, they will have to temporarily close Red Bluff again. So, but they'll open it back up mid-June and will be good for about a year before they start doing any other construction on entrance ramps. So that was some good news. We continue to work on a closeout for the current 146 project out here. Probably the biggest noticeable item to the public, the questions that we've gotten in the past are where are the street signs off the frontage roads? So that is part of the punch list items. TxDOT's required to put the street signs back on those frontage roads. So those are still yet to be done. Moving on to CIP projects, we have a water line project that is an interconnect. For those of you new, our interconnect projects are pretty substantial. So we've basically only had one trunk line that ran across the Taylor Lake Bridge. If that trunk line at any time ever went down, we were in really bad shape. So Public Works has been working over the last couple of years on these couple of projects that that's titled Interconnect. And what that does is allows an alternate way. One source goes down, we can interloop that. And so we are reaching about the end on the old 146 connection. We took a tap off Port Road and ran it down old 146. There's a device, a vault that we're still waiting on to finalize that project, but that will be our first successful interconnect, so it's pretty substantial. Seascape, if you're off of Red Bluff, you'll see that there is a substantial waterline project going on. They are on Allegro right now and still are targeting for August 2025 for 100% completion. We have a couple of generators that we've been reporting on, but just wanted to touch again. We got these through hazards grants a long time ago. They finally came to council recently, and we've issued the POs now. So we will be replacing behind PD, that giant generator out there will be replaced at a fraction of a cost to the local match for us. And the other one is at the fire station. So we talked before on some of the issues at the fire station. That is going to be a new generator. We are looking to put an alternate plug system in there while that one's down right now. So as we enter into hurricane season, we'll have a transfer switch. We can put a mobile generator out there. The catch with both of these generators is they're telling Brian and Jesse, I mean, the lead time for any generator of that size is at least 8 to 9 months, I believe. So they're in the queue with POs issued, and those are already hopefully in the works. Pine Gully down by the bridge, the lower bridge off of Pine Gully down there, there is a wastewater line that's been exposed to the elements lying on the bridge. We have a CIP project that's in design for boring that underneath the gully there. So that will be really fortifying us in case of a Hurricane Ike comes again. Our EMS expansion, so adding on to the fire department, the EMS expansion, we did bump that bid opening a little bit. We had numerous questions, but we did have numerous contractors that are interested in bidding on that project. So we've bumped it to May 29th. We'll open the bids, see what they come back, and then we will be planning a future groundbreaking with City Council. And so there'll be a kickoff at that project. For those of you new also, we have committed $100,000 this year and last year to sidewalk replacements. So this is our second year, and we are now entering about 90% completion for this year. They finished sidewalks in Lake Cove, Seabrook Island, and Wild Oak area over by the Methodist Church. So they're just about completed in there. Our restroom off of Repsdorf, the pad site's ready. We're just waiting on a plumber. So that should be coming, and then we can take delivery of the new restroom. And again, that'll be a new 2-seater that was paid with the COVID or the ARPA funds. That'll complete all of our ARPA projects that we received for that funding packet. We are also working on the training tower. So from 2023, we had a bond proposition for training tower for the fire department, and we've been working on a geotechnical report that's taken a little bit longer than we anticipated. We've got that draft. We're looking to do a update with the engineers, then hopefully move into a designer that will be able to design the concrete pad. We are looking and working with a person that does prefabs as far as a drop and play of the actual tower itself. So this one's just taken a little bit longer than expected. And then lastly, North Meyer. I've talked numerous times on North Meyer, but some good news on that one. We got an email earlier today as well. This is a First Street project when we took out some additional street debt that is in really bad shape. The scope of this project will be from Gale's Feed Store up to 146. We applied through Precinct 2, Adrian Garcia, and did receive the design award last year. So the email that we got today is us actually just kicking off design. So, working with the county is a little bit slower too, but this is promising that we're actually kicking off that project. We'll start the scope of work, and then we'll come back and report what that timeline's looking like. Any questions?
Thank you, Gail. Busy, busy, busy. 5.3, establish future meeting dates and agenda items.
Mayor and council, your next scheduled meeting is for June 3rd at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Any further business?
Move to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.